plenty himself. All the taxes were paid in consumable goods in these days. But he refused. He wanted the prices of the grain higher, so there was nothing. And 2 weeks later, the starving peasants returned, and they were not going to take no for an answer. So they the bishop had no choice. He opened the granaries, and after that the starving peasants went in. But then Hatto ordered his soldiers to close the barns and set all the barns afire. And all the farmers died in the fire, and he was there standing laughing hysterically, you know, like a hero. The bishop did not. In the blue scaffolding on the banks of the river. This is from Hotel Krone. It's now under starved to death and was then eaten by the birds. Yeah. They had all kinds of punishments in these days. For example, if you really did bad, then there was a hanging, or they had 4 horses on the market square, and they tie up 1 horse on each leg and 1 horse on each arm, and then they send them in 4 different directions. And there were a lot of people, spectators always, and this was like the Romans had breeding games fighting with the lions, yeah, and that was in the medieval days what they did. So it's like go to a football game, you went to the market square. The front tower, and it's hard to see with this, the front tower here we have has the small iron cage on it. You have to look into it on an angle, otherwise it's very hard to see, but it is really on the top. See the little staircase balcony, then a window, then the round things, and just above it, just before that you really get the building in if you look at an angle you can see it. Yes, for those of you who go to the Marksburg this afternoon, you have to count about on a road a little bit like this to walk up to the castle, but less, not that far, yeah? And it's paved. Yeah, the castle was destroyed. Yeah. Why were all the castles destroyed? Well, wars. 1600 till 1630, a religious war, the 30-year war. Yeah, and that was, of course, a lot of destroyment. But then in 1689, Louis XIV, he traveled through this area, and he destroyed each and every castle systematically. How did it happen? Louis the king of the Rhineland-Palatinate had 2 kids. He had a daughter and a son. And in these days they removed most of their response here because of floodings, yeah? And you cannot live in it permanently. It's only for recreation. So you still need a home with an address and a zip code to get your mail. You cannot live all year round in these camping places. For families with kids is of course a great thing to do, because the hotel rooms, you need 2 hotel rooms, and a family with 2 kids, they cost a lot of money, and a camping place here costs average 30 to 40 euros per night with electricity and water. There are some 5-star campings with pools and entertainment, they're more expensive. Germany from Rotterdam, and 35,000 people extra died in the starvation wave in 1945. These people were not ready for 5,000 German-speaking people. And the Germans understood that, and they say, you know what, we sell you a mountain for $1 Deutschmark, $25. Few of the towns are selling castles nowadays. There are 3 castles in Germany for sale. I think they cost €1. It sounds like a bargain. City Council though want you also to prove you have sufficient funds to maintain the structure.
How many years?
About $500,000 a year. And you cannot just make it up for your own comfort. You cannot say, let's put an elevator in and a nice modern kitchen, solar panels and everything. No, there is a committee of historical architects, and they will look at your building plans and they will tell you what is possible and what is not possible. So that is what they do.
That's so cool.
So ladies and gentlemen, today will be officially
$500,000 a year maintenance euros.
You have to pass by 2 signatures. And we speak about quaint and medieval all the time, but this one definitely is, because still 8 from the 10 former watchtowers are still in a good state. And some of them have been modernized, so you can walk up the staircase in the steel construction. For fires. And at the end of your 24 hours, you pass the stick on to your neighbor. Yeah? So that's how they did it in the medieval days. So 70% of the medieval city wall is still existing. You get a good view on it from this side. If you look to the towers on the higher level, you see the walls around it. Some of you might have been on the Danube. There is a town where you have much more city walls. Still Rothenburg up the tower, and I know that some of you have been there. But Oberwesel is in the top 3 with these walls in Germany, and also here many tourists come to walk over these former medieval city walls in times of summer. Also here you see a Viking docking spot. We have a huge warehouse here that if we need some spare parts or extra house wine or stuff, we can stop here and pick it up.
So for stopping, we
I
know
think
we drank
still
too
have
much
enough
wine,
house
yeah.
wine. We still keep on going, so could do a little bit better on that.
Got some already.
I'll get you.
This is Ray.
Hi.
He's our wonderful,
Hi.
wonderful. All right.
Hello.
Hi. We got some lemonade. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much.
And on the right hand side, also on the bushes beyond the street, you will very soon see the sign with the name Lorelei.
You on Viking? These are some of our servers, Ramon. He's offering vodka, but no thank you. Yeah, that's great, thank you. I love it. Here's Lorelei. Wow, look at this view. Look at the view. Look at the view.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and look at that, we thought it couldn't get better, and now we even have a nice happy drink. We see the Lorelei. The statue will also be on the right hand side in about 300 meters. I will also point that out, and that will be on a land top.
Right?
I need Keith here to dance with. I bet William can dance.
Here's why.
On the right hand side at 2 o'clock is you see a flag, and below the flag is the statue of the Lorelei. Alrighty, happy, more castles to come. Folks, and these little extras, you know, the Viking road crew, they always know how to go above and beyond. And make some noise for this fantastic crew on the Viking road. In front of us, ladies and gentlemen, there you see the Cat's Castle. And don't worry, when there's a Cat's Castle, you're also going to see a Mouse Castle. It was owned by the Counts of Katzenelnbogen, robber barons, and they say that from this castle you have the best view over the Lorelei statue. Not a lot of people can confirm that because it's owned by a German welfare association and it houses a private boarding school, so it's not open for the public. Yeah. It is overlooking the town of St. Goarshausen, right hand side St. Goarshausen, left hand side St. Goar, G-O-A-R, both towns named after a hermit living here in the 6th century, and he gave assistance to everybody traveling over land and over water. So it's not a miracle that he became the patron saint of innkeepers, yeah? The patron saint St. Goar. St. Goarshausen had so much salmon in the medieval days, yeah, no more salmon in the Rhine nowadays, but he had so much salmon that the local apprentices even had contracts stating not to be fed more than 3 times a week red fish. Yes. You have a lot of salmon.
Did you see that house way up there? They're on the Charleston, Gary. They're on Jeffrey Charleston.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool. They're on a pilgrimage.
So the ferry you see is the Lorelei 6. It's obviously what happened to the other 5 before.
I love his corny jokes. So dry and so funny to me.
That's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see one of the largest, well, it used to be the largest castle of the Rhine River. Not anymore, we saw the one because this is only the ruins on your left-hand side. Counts of Katzenelnbogen, they took this one over. So these robber barons from Katzenelnbogen, they had a firm stronghold of this bend in the river. Yeah. It was destroyed not in 1689, because in 1689 Louis XIV came here, but this castle could house a garrison of 2,000 soldiers. So he couldn't take it, but he did not forget about it. He tripled his army. He came back in 1692, and he couldn't take it. He didn't forget about it. He came back in 1694. He doubled his army again. You can be a brave soldier inside the castle, but if you're outnumbered 1 against 20, 30 soldiers, you can only do one thing: you run. Yeah, so that's what they did. The castle was taken without any fighting and destroyed to the pile of rumble, as they call it, as we see it today. These are the ruins. It was much higher, it was even longer on the sides here, but this is what is left. It's owned by the town of St. Goar. It's open for the public. It has a beer garden, it has a museum, there is a maze of underground passages where you can basically walk through. It's only 5 feet 8 high, with torches. They do tours there. And the visitor will be amazed by the vast extent of the walls. Some of the walls are almost 10 feet thick. Yeah. So the Rheinfels Castle here. At the foot of the castle here you see modern structures and buoys, red and green ones. This is the office from the port authorities who maintain the navigable channel and repair the buoys. And behind it as well there's a small inland port where they have tugboats. Because in May, when the snow melts in Switzerland, the current here is so strong that the cargo ships cannot pass by the Lorelei stretch on their way to Basel, and then they need tugboats to pull them through the Lorelei stretch. Rheinfels Castle here on your left hand side. Was rebuilt according to the original plans in 1905 by a gentleman who owned a company in Berlin, and that company still owns it. But you can see a perfectly fine in-state 7-story watchtower. The entire defensive wall has been brought back to the original state, and the corner turrets that we see show the defensive nature of this castle. So the Mouse Castle is really one of the best preserved completely how it should be as it was built. And the company still owns it, so they invite their business partners there, wine and dine them, and then sign the deal. That is the best way to do that. Is nothing new. That's a 1,000-year-old system. With the biggest example, of course, the Kurfürst von Metternich in 1814. After Napoleon was defeated, he invited all the heads of states for 5 days in Vienna, who wined and dined them, and they divided Europe again. Not in a good way, of course, because that is never geopolitical. You always get wars after that again. So nothing happened, and the younger one, he declared his tempestuous love, so it was decided these 2 young kids should get married.
2 brothers built these
The
castles.
son Henry, he said, okay, let's go on a crusade, don't be sad. But his youngest brother also wanted to go on a crusade, so he left even before him. And Henry had to stay looking after his ailing father, who died shortly after Conrad's departure. Angela and Henry lived in the castle. Angela was waiting with longing in her heart, and after 3 long years, Conrad came back. But he was not alone. He brought with him a beautiful Greek bride. Well, Henry was furious, and the 2 brothers met in a duel till death, but Angela intervened, took the field, and went into the convent, which you see at the foot of the hill.
Oh my God, have mercy.
Angela died of a broken heart, and shortly after that, Henry as well, when the wedding bells were tolling for Conrad. And Conrad, did he live happily ever after? No, he did not, because his best friend ran off with his beautiful Greek wife, and stricken with grief and remorse, he jumped to his death on the rocks below the castle. 2 enemy brothers. The convent belongs to the town of
Drama.
Kampen. That was a city.
Wow, they take it to the extreme.
So very soon you will see 2 government churches.
David, funny not funny.
Both off the rock.
Jeez, you guys calm down. Take a breath. Jeez. What a story. I'm exhausted. Oh my God.
Get scared from the word spaghetti eyes, yeah? So Papa thrives on tourism, as you see. Beautiful walking promenade. And the second church you see here with the onion-shaped slate tower, that's the Carmelite Church from 1428. It was founded by Simon Stock. And this church has 2 altars inside, also wood carving. Pretty famous. And this church.
Marksburg Castle. Yeah, we're heading up there this afternoon.
Oh my goodness.
Look to your left, Sam. Okay.
Castle, and of course we have a beautiful station tower sitting on top of it. And you know, this tower is from the 70s, and back then so that would all TV stations in Germany from 1 to 2.
We're just getting here. Just getting here.
Yeah, this big one.